Are y'all all telling me that y'all have seen it? Have y'all all seen it? Have y'all all seen the new Spider-Man? Because if you have, I'll spoil. You haven't seen it? Okay. I'm gonna be as spoiler free as humanly possible. Even though I think it's really easy to explain this movie without spoilers. But for those of you who haven't seen it, I'm gonna try to be as considerate as possible. So let me give you a little backstory, right? Spider-Man is my favorite superhero, right? I don't have a problem with saying that. It's between Spider-Man and Batman are the characters in general that I get the most entertainment out of generally. Because from my understanding, those are the ones that are almost most closely rooted to society. Like, they're the most normal human being. Well, I can't say that about Bruce Wayne because he's a millionaire and whatnot. But I'm just saying, like, I feel a connection spiritually to both bros, right? I don't care if you say it's generic. I don't care what you say. You making it seem like I'm going to pick these characters based off whether or not they're popular or if they aren't or if they are. Like, I'm just saying the ones that I like the most. What are you talking about? Hello? Anyway, back to what I was saying and not your bum opinion. The very first Spider-Man that I always loved was the original one. And I don't know who he was voiced by, but you remember the original Spider-Man show. I don't know if the original Spider-Man show was called The Amazing Spider-Man or whatever it was called. But they had Peter looking kind of like a grown man and trying to portray him as a teenager. TV show. I don't know if that was what it was called. Wait, what? Ew. No, this isn't the one I was talking about. This is not the one. It was the cartoon, though. That was the one that I most... No, I don't think it was... Yeah, the OG one. I don't know what... Not the 90s one? What do you mean the 90s one? Yeah, Spider-Man, the animated series. I think that's what it's called. I don't remember. Maybe it is the 90s one, and I'm just not remembering it correctly. But I was in love with that version of Spider-Man because I felt like when he was actually fighting the villains that he was fighting... I ain't gonna lie, I really got some genuine chuckles out of his little humorous commentary that he was doing while he was fighting the villains. You know what I'm saying? I really got some entertainment from that. I read the comic books, and I really felt like genuinely in my mind, the most entertainment I've ever gotten from Spider-Man is when he was animated. I was tricked and forced into believing that I had to enjoy and endure live action Spider-Man. So for a long time, probably the first... up until I was like maybe 14 years old or something like that, I was convincing myself to like feed into the live action versions of Spider-Man, and that like I had to like the Tobey Maguire iterations, or I had to like the Andrew Garfield portrayals, or like I had to do something with the Tom Holland ones. And I'm like, yo, I've realized every time I watch one of these new portrayals of Spider-Man, I'm never satisfied. They're all trash. They're all garbage. I don't care what you say. They're all garbage. None of them get it right. For the first Spider-Man little trilogy or whatnot from 2004 when he first came out to like 2007 when Spider-Man 3 was out, I'm like, bro, garbage. I tricked myself into thinking that it was legendary because it was the OG kind of like, but I'm like, dude, this is horribly acted. Not gonna lie, CGI was decent for its time. Fight scenes were okay. But I'm like Tobey Maguire not bringing the most out of Peter Parker. Peter Parker feel like a robot while he's moving through the movies and whatnot. I don't care if you say I'm chatting or whatnot. Those movies are terrible. They're awful, god awful. So I look over at the Amazing Spider-Man. I'm like, you know what? He got a little bit more personality, but they really not bringing the life out of these fights the way I feel like they could. They got the Amazing Spider-Man fighting a lizard and whatnot, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't mind a weird boss battle every now and again, but who wants to watch a movie where the pinnacle of the villain that they fighting is a lizard? I don't want to do that. I get what you're saying, but I don't want to do that. We fighting Electro? Jamie Foxx is Electro? I'm sorry, it can't work. I don't like it. William Dafoe was a great villain. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say he wasn't. But the Peters and the Spider-Man of the Spider-Man movies were always, to me, the weakest part. I go over into Tom Holland land, and I felt the same way. Now, I think Tom Holland is a little bit more realistic as a Spider-Man than the other ones, because the other ones look grown as hell and old as hell in comparison. But at the same time, I'm like, he's not capturing the magic. He's not capturing the magic for real. Okay, so you could say Doc Ock too. The villains in Spider-Man was doing their thing. The villains in Spider-Man, for the most part, was doing their thing. But the Spider-Men themselves just weren't pulling the weight, in my opinion. They just weren't pulling their weight. So one random day in 2000, I don't remember when Into the Spider-Verse came out, but I remember it was just all this craze and buzz and hype around it. And when I first like heard of Spider-Verse, in my mind, I'm thinking this is going to be some corny portrayal of a black Spider-Man where they're basically making him go through comic book strip panels during the whole movie. And I'm not going to be a fan of that aesthetic. I just didn't take the idea serious at all. I didn't take the idea serious one bit at all. I'm just looking at this situation like this about to be a cash grab and they want niggas to fuck with Black Spider-Man. That's it. But then I watched it. I'm like, oh, that's what they can do? I'm like, they can do that? I didn't even know they were capable of doing it. Like they could have been doing this like whole time. They could have been portraying him like this whole time and they never tried it. They got likable characters in the universe with decent voice acting and like emotive characters that make me feel like I'm more closely related and rooted to the actual portrayal of the way it was supposed to be. All this open space and they fill in every little nook and cranny and crevice up with colors and line work and beautiful animation and personality, and this character's likable and this character's likable and they got this dude that could be a possible thing in the next movie and this dude and this dude. And I just didn't expect to be such a big fan of it. I didn't. In reality, go ahead.
Into the Spider-Verse, the prime reason why they needs more niggas in cinema. I want fun shit, not this traumatic garbage.
They can do traumatic garbage. They can. But they just don't have actors that can portray it well enough. And I think we're all tired of seeing the Peter Parker story. You understand? We've all seen Aunt May or Uncle Ben die. It's old. I'm tired of it. You know what I'm saying? Get something new. And that's fine. I was cool with the 90s animated TV show for Spider-Man. I didn't need another iteration. That version of Spider-Man works for me. I watched him fight the dude with the big electric bolts on his wrists. I watched him fight Venom in that series. I'm like, yeah, this is fine. I'll let that version of him be my favorite version. I don't need Toby's version. I don't need Andrew's version. I don't need Tom's version. I'm cool with that version of Spider-Man. Shocker. There you go. I like Shocker. That fight with him and Shocker was great, especially when he was in the symbiote suit. Oh my God, that was amazing. I'm like, here comes Spider-Man across the Spider-Verse. And I was such a big fan of Into the Spider-Verse and such an unexpectedly big fan. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't one of those people that just was reluctant to new forms of Spider-Man. I wasn't one of those people. I'm only going to go with what's most entertaining. So I hear Across the Spider-Verse is coming out. I'm like, oh my God, I'm excited. I'm there. Couldn't go see it on opening night. You know what I'm saying? Wanted to, but couldn't. Ended up going to see it, what was it, June 2nd, June 3rd, something like that. I get in there and niggas is just on a different type of time, man. You in the theater lobby, niggas is outside the line, like waiting to go in to see the movie. I'm sitting up here like, why does the vibe feel like the vibe don't really feel like I'm going to go watch just a regular movie? Like niggas is really, it's like a culture of niggas that are just like, we ready. I see niggas, strangers and shit congregating. Niggas is dapping me up. They don't know who I am. I don't know who they are. They like, we about to love this shit. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, okay, all right, cool. We got a community of lovers right here. Let's go watch the movie. Let's go have a good time. Boom, everybody sit down. Skipping through the trailers and the previews of the upcoming films that's coming up. We don't give a fuck about that shit. We came here to see one thing and one thing only. Boom. Immediately, we hear a different person narrating the intro. I'm like, oh yeah, these niggas is taking risks. They could have immediately started out with an easy choice like Miles at the start. I'm not gonna say too much. I'm not gonna say too much, but they knew what they was doing. They set things up really well, right? So I'm into the movie and I'm starting to see, yo, the illustrations, the colors, it's more vibrant. The sound is beautiful. The voice acting is good. There's witty remarks, but it's not forced. It's not corny. It's like every version of each Spider-Man that they portrayed in the movie got that thing. They got that thing, each version of them. I'm not going to do spoilers. I would, but there's people who haven't seen it. Each version of Spider-Man has their own little bit of humor. I'm seeing that in the first 15 minutes of the movie. Each one. I'm like, oh, they capturing the essence. They're capturing the cult. They're capturing the love for what the character is. I get it. Boom, we skip through a little bit. We start to see Miles' perspective. We see a potential person that may end up getting set up for a situation in another situation. Not going to say too much. But as soon as he's introduced, he's a laughingstock. As soon as he's introduced. And I'm like, oh my God. He's hilarious. I don't take you serious. Bro, I don't take you serious. There's bread falling out of your stomach. I don't take you serious. Miles is laughing at you. Like, what am I supposed to do with this? You see the contrast? Because by the certain part, it's like, oh my God, he not there to save him. They gonna show. I'm not gonna say too much, but that was a situation. Bro, I'm not gonna say that, but we got Indian Spider-Man. We got, who else? UK Spider-Man.
It's going down in here. I'm with the money.
We got Black Woman Pregnant Spider-Man. We got Cat Spider-Man. We got Dino Spider-Man. We got Lego Spider-Man. We got futuristic, what was it? Is it 2099 Spider-Man? He Hispanic. You know what I'm saying? Miles start trying to butter him up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? At a certain point, there you go, 2099. Oh my God. I'm trying to really, and you know what? Now that I think back about it, there isn't that much in terms of situations that happen in the movie, but I don't know how to say it without spoiling, the build up to the build up to the situation that's going to occur, and it's just too much. It's too much. 'Cause I don't want to spoil it because it really is a movie that I need y'all to see. It really is a movie that I want you to watch. Like, in the theater, as soon as you get the chance, as soon as you get an opportunity, please go see it. It is a fantastic movie, and it is the best Spider-Man movie I've ever seen. I mean, like, it's my favorite. It's my favorite one. And they got another one coming out next year. And you will see why it's got to come out next year once you watch this movie. You're going to see why. I'm trying to think of my favorite moment. What was your favorite moment in the movie? My favorite moment in the movie is that converging scene when they're how do I say it without spoiling it? When Miles and all the Spider-Men have their moment, when Miles and Spider-Man all have their moment, that's what I'll say, and there's this giant revelation, that's my favorite moment. I don't know how they animated that. And every Spider-Man that had an exchange with Miles, you immediately want to find out how they got their shit. I want to go into each one of their world. There was Cowboy Spider-Man. There was Disabled Spider-Woman. There was Spider-Man that takes himself ridiculously serious. Like, he has to say every one of his moves and what he's doing while he's doing it. Every time they introduce another one, I want to go into their universe. I wanted to see what their world looked like. I wanted to dip my pinky toe into the situation. That scene was hilarious, but it was also fantastic. It was. That train scene, that futuristic world train scene? Nigga, how did you even do that? That is the best I've ever seen Spider-Man ever look. Well, you know what I mean. Not train, but it was basically a train. It was basically a train. Like the little Metro area when they going up. Metro's cameo in the movie was great. There's nowhere for him to go. I didn't even know that was Metro until after I got done watching the movie. That part was great. It was a nice little inclusion. Real small, but nice little inclusion. When he started to jump through the gears and he goes down, that's exactly when I was floored. I'm like, yes, this is amazing. This is fantastic. This is perfect. But I'm not going to lie to you. Another one of my favorite parts of the movie was probably when they dove into Indian Spider-Man's world. I would have loved for them to swap between more people doing that. After seeing UK Spider-Man against the establishment Spider-Man, after they did that, I would have loved to see his world. I wanted to rewind the movie so many times while I was watching it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I wanted to rewind previous scene, pause, so many different parts, one of the screenshot when he's going back into the world and he's trying to check up on his people, and they're illustrating like all the things in the background. I don't know if that was actually a part of that world or if that was just in his mind. He got Spot in one eye. He got this situation in another one. They got his uncle on the big screen on the side as he's running through the world trying to get to his peoples. Then the build up to the end, and then the ending. The ending. I'm sitting up here looking at my phone. I'm like, yo, there's no way that they can, in 20, 30 minutes, there's no way that they got enough time to do all this. I look again. I'm like, yo, they still going. It's 15 minutes. I look again. They still go. It's 10 minutes. I look again. They still go. It's 5 minutes. Like, what are we doing here? Y'all, can you really do this? Then I see it. And I'm like, okay, it all makes sense now. I was very upset, but I was also very excited. I was. The music, the score was fantastic. The score I like better. I like the score better than I like the soundtrack, to be honest. There was only one point in the movie where they used James Blake as a good part of the movie, but for the most part, it was the score. You know, the original the movie soundtrack that did it for me and made the scenes like way better. That I just think that you can't do live action. I think that we need to accept that there are certain things that, you know what I'm saying, regular niggas can't do anymore. That's where I'm at. You know what I mean? Like, we shouldn't be doing superhero movies. After watching this movie, that's my revelation. Like, we shouldn't be doing it anymore. You got to keep all of that type of stuff to its comic strips. You got to keep all of that to its original and do the most of what you can to build a world that's beautiful in a way that don't include real people. It's unfortunate, but it's better. This is illustrating that perfectly. It's just so much better. And so in their mind, they think, oh, I can't take this serious. It's a cartoon. Bitch, you've been watching a grown-ass man in spandex. What's worse? Seeing a grown-ass man in spandex trying to recreate the energy of a teenager, or just seeing the teenager drawn out doing his own thing? Just let me see the original little artwork and give them a huge budget to do whatever they want to do and portray them the way that they want to. It's just so much better. Nobody can play Miles after that, and even if they could, they couldn't capture the magic that was in the movie. That movie does not work. That movie does not work live action. Spider-Man, I'm convinced, does not work or is never going to be the best that he can be live action. He just can't be. It's unfortunate, but it's just not going to work.
For some reason, people think animation is childish.
But there's nothing wrong with that. Don't they say that children have the biggest imaginations humanly possible? If we want to say that those movies are childish, you can say that, but there's nothing wrong with that. You need to dive into that part of your mind more. Because they're going to make movies so much more expansive and entertaining and world bending. You can do so much more when you have much more of a, you know what I'm saying, of an open canvas. There's literally certain things you cannot do with real people. If you haven't seen Across the Spider-Verse, please go watch it. You think I want to see Spider-Man 4 with Tobey Maguire? You think I want to see that? You think I want to see them breathe life back into these old ass Spider-Man? You think I want to see that? Kill them. Fucking kill them. Off them niggas. Please. I don't care if you say I'm hating. They're useless. You know what happens when characters don't have a good story closure? They end up being forgotten because the other things, they try to bring them back for a certain part of a new part in a series, and they don't close them out right. They keep trying to reuse them over and over again. And then these niggas end up being 60 like Denzel fucking Washington playing the fucking Equalizer. I don't want to see that. Don't show me that. Kill this nigga. Kill him. You're not going to be young forever. We do not need 45-year-old Spider-Man. But they did old niggas right in the new Spider-Man movie. They did old niggas right. Doing what they were supposed to be doing. I'm not going to say too much. But y'all saw old boy in the new Spider-Man movie. Boom. He was doing what he was supposed to be doing. They wrote him in the right way. Miles ain't that dude? Okay. You're right, though. He doesn't try to be.